Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome, episode 36, Monorail Memoirs. This week we'll be talking about how many days do you really need for your Walt Disney World trip. Before we get into that, Lauren, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I've ruined my T-shirt. So this, of course, is the goofy one. This is the goofy challenge.
Yeah.
But I sometimes, when I run, I'll put Vaseline on my nipples, and I don't know if you can see, but there's like dark patches now
Oh
from
no.
where the Vaseline has been. So I appreciate this. This is a first world problem, but I'm still wearing the T-shirt nevertheless. Thank you for humouring me though. So the big question then is how many days do you really need? And I want to start by saying there's different types of trips. If you're doing your once in a lifetime, must see, you must do everything, obviously it's going to take more. Versus your second trip of the year, you can afford to do less then. So I think a lot of people look at sort of the 3 to 4 day mark. If you're doing 4 days, I think it's probably fair to say you've got to do 1 day in each park. Oh, we already have controversy. Lauren, why am I wrong?
I feel like, especially at the minute, Animal Kingdom is definitely a half-day park.
So you're saying you would park hop to
Magic, probably.
Of course you would.
Yeah.
Of course you would. Look, I think if you really wanted to, you could cram. I honestly think if you had 3 days, I would do a day at Magic Kingdom, a day at Epcot, and then do a half day each between Animal and Hollywood Studios. And if you had to miss out on one, what do you miss out on?
I will get shot for this, but Epcot.
Oh, you freaking idiot! I can't swear on this, but that's just stupid. That's the worst answer. I can't. I'm not even gonna entertain that. Epcot is the best park, and therefore we must maintain doing it. 3 to 4 days. Then it works for obviously short vacations. Americans don't get much paid time off, so of course that's plays to factor as well. It can also be more budget friendly because you're only staying for fewer days, and if you can, a lot of people drive down. That's not something that we as Brits, that doesn't make sense to us, but people will drive down. Turns out, by the way, so where I am in Northern Virginia, there is a train that you can put yourself and your car on that takes you down to like near Orlando. And so, but I looked at the prices because I was like, well, it means you don't have to get a rental car because you've got your car with you. No, so much cheaper to fly and quicker. It takes like a fifth of the time and it's half the cost. So of course I'm going to fly. But anyway, so let's get flying. If you only do 3 or 4 days, what are you going to miss out on? You're going to miss out on probably a park. You're going to miss out on the water parks. You're probably not going to get much time in Disney Springs, if at all. And I think you would just feel so rushed the whole time. And yes, you can use lightning lanes, and yes, you can, all the paid add-ons that you want to try and achieve that. But to me, realistically, in 3 to 4 days, you'll get 3 parks done, and you'll feel like you missed out on a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, I didn't consider the water parks and Disney Springs, which you've just mentioned, which you're right, it is an experience if you've sort of like maybe never been before or something like that. But yeah, I do think that you'll just be kind of running around, to use an English term, like a blue horse fly. I don't know how you would translate that to Americanisms, but
Headless chicken, maybe.
Yeah, just running around crazy, trying to get everything done, missing the joy of it all, not noticing the little things. If you just go with a massive checklist and you're right, I've got 12 hours to tick everything off, you're just not going to get the enjoyment out of it that you've paid all this money to do.
And that's that. I think you're going to miss out on quite a lot of experiences as well.
True.
You won't be able to have a slow time dining. You won't be able to have any days off. There's no days sat by the pool. There's no days sort of enjoying yourself. And I think if we move into sort of that 7-day time frame, that you can get everything done. And I think if you're a first time Disney goer, 7 days is probably good because you're not overly wedded to having to spend every day there. It gives you enough time to split between the resort just to sort of chill out, but also do everything in the theme parks. You can hit everything that you want to do twice because you can obviously go back and do it again. And I appreciate if you do one park each day for the first 4, you then know what you want to do to hit it again in the back 3 days. I think it would also stop you from chasing everything once. I feel 7 days, if you're a newbie, is probably the sweet spot. You are getting the exposure to it, but you're not having to be sort of driven around by your timeline.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The only kind of spanner in the works there is for our UK listeners, when you purchase a 7-day ticket, you usually get the extra 7 for free. So I
Yeah.
remember when we used to go as kids, Mum would say, providing we do over 7 days, we've got our money's worth.
Yeah, and that's good if you want to have days off, anything Disney related. But that doesn't make your accommodation any cheaper. Doesn't make your rental car any cheaper. Doesn't make you've got to buy food and exist, which of course is going to be more expensive if you're in the park. So I get it, I do, but that's why for the British listeners they give them 14 days is basically the same price as 7, so you will stay a little bit longer. As we look toward the 14 days, I think because that's what we used to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
14 days, what we used to do. Since then, I've done a couple of sort of 7 days. So 14 days is great if you're coming across the Atlantic because you've got the time zones, you've got the flights to consider, etc. It's good because it gives you a balance between doing stuff and not. I think the biggest disadvantage there's two disadvantages to me for the 14 days. One is the cost. Your accommodation's twice as long, your rental car's twice as long, etc. But secondly, do you think it starts to feel a little less magical when you just get to do it 4 or 5 times in a row?
Yeah, I think that it's definitely, it loses that spark, that initial spark that you get, especially if you're going for the first time. You want to keep that and harness that. We've been going for so long that it is just kind of, I hate to say it, but normal for us. And so, like a lot of people who go all the time, yes, we still feel that magic. Yes, we still love it, but it is kind of normal to us. Yeah. Whereas if you're going for the first time, as you say, you don't want it to get to the point where you're like, oh, well, we may as well do teacups again. Like that sort of thing. You want it to be like, oh, we just did teacups and it was great. And, on to the next thing. And yeah, I think that the 14 days does certainly kind of put that pressure on towards the end of the week that actually, is this magical anymore?
Yeah, I get that. It's difficult. It is difficult. And I think it's still more economical than doing 2 7-day trips, though.
Yeah, very much so.
One set of flights, etc. And I do think that if you're able to do a 14-day over 7, I'd still take the 14. Our next trip, of course, which is going to be for Springtime Surprise, that's only 7.
Yeah,
that's only 7 days, and we're running a little bit in between that as well. So there's something to consider. For those who haven't seen, a couple of weeks ago, our episode with Dr. Ali Marty went up. She's run Disney PT. She's going to be at Springtime Surprise as well, so we're going to see her down there. Got a lot of good Run Disney stuff in that. As for this episode, I think I want to round up by saying, look, there is no right answer. There is no right answer. It depends on your time, your budget, your schedule, how much paid time off you can take, etc. For me, I wouldn't want to do less than a week, though.
Yeah, I'd agree. And also, as you say, if you're coming over from the Atlantic, like across the Atlantic, you do want to spend that time there because you've made it all the way over there. There's no way that you're just going to turn around and come straight back again. You need to feel like you've had that holiday. And a lot of people say, oh, when you've been to a Disney holiday, you need a holiday after the holiday because it's not relaxing. You've not kind of had that time to just chill out. Whereas I think the 14 days does give you that. If you land, say, on the Monday, on the Tuesday, you don't have to go into the parks. You can start to get to know, but you can start to get to know your resort, or maybe go to Walmart if you're staying in a villa. Get all your amenities together, maybe have a pool day, and then you can start doing your Disney days, and you can kind of wind down towards your departure as well. So I do think it gives that flexibility and that acclimatization, obviously through the time zones. If you're going inside the US, then yes, I think that kind of a 7-day holiday would maybe be a sweet spot. But I've never done that before, so I can't comment.
No, and if I'm honest, I've always thought about, and actually we did it this year with the water parks. The day that we flew down, we still went to the water park the same day. That was kind of cool, because we've always had to, from the UK, we've always had to sort of effectively wait 24 hours at least by the time you set off and get there as well. Here, I just flew down, and then the same day I was in Typhoon Lagoon going, oh, this is all right, this. I'll get
Mental.
used
That
to
is
that.
crazy to me. Obviously, because it's like 24 hours door to door sometimes. Because when we were younger, we used to do connecting flights because it would be cheaper. So, you know, it could literally be you leave your house in the northwest of England at 6 a.m. and you don't get there until like midnight Florida time or whatever, you know, and so it would almost be like 24 hours door to door.
Yeah, that's kind of wild, and I'm not missing that particular part. Nevertheless, thank you all for attending this week. We'll be back next week as always, and until then, please stand clear of the doors. Bye, everybody.